Right now, almost everything you own is a number in a database you will never see, guarded by a building you will never visit. We call that a bank, and it feels like the only way money could possibly work. But banks, real banks, are newer than you think. Your great-grandparents probably got paid in cash, in an envelope, their whole lives. So what did people do before banks existed? Where did money sleep at night? By the end of this video, you'll know where humanity hid its wealth for 5,000 years. And you'll know the strangest part of the story. The bank in your pocket exists because a king robbed his own people. The oldest answer is the simplest one. You buried it. Archaeologists keep finding the evidence. In London, they dug up a hoard of 453 bronze objects, carefully packed in straw, buried around 900 BC, and never collected. Somebody's life savings, still in the ground 29 centuries later. Because that's the problem with burying your wealth. The ground doesn't give receipts, so people looked for somewhere safer, and they found the safest place in the ancient world, the temple. Think about it. Thick walls, guards, and one security feature no vault has ever matched. Stealing from a temple meant robbing a god. Divine security. Ordinary thieves didn't dare, so temples in Mesopotamia filled up with deposits, grain, silver, valuables. And around 4,000 years ago, the temples noticed something. All this wealth just sitting there could be lent out. There are records of loans from the temples of Babylon as early as 2000 BC. And this wasn't chaos, it was regulated. The Code of Hammurabi, carved in stone around 1750 BC, set legal maximum interest rates, 20% on silver, 33% on grain. And if a lender charged even slightly more than that, the law's penalty was brutal. He forfeited the entire loan. Everything. Imagine a payday lender today losing the whole debt for overcharging you. Here's my favorite detail. The Sumerian word for interest, mash, is literally the word for a baby goat. Because that's how they understood it. Wealth that gives birth. Your herd grows on its own. Why shouldn't your silver? So, money slept in temples, guarded by gods, and it even bred like livestock. Storage. Solved. But storage was never the hard problem. The hard problem was distance. How do you send money somewhere without carrying it through a world full of robbers? Egypt found the first answer. Under the Greek pharaohs, the state ran granaries across the country that worked like branch offices. Your grain sat in an account under your name, and you could pay someone by writing an order, transferring grain from your account to theirs, on paper, without a single sack moving. 2,000 years before online banking, Egypt had the wire transfer. But the boldest version came from somewhere unexpected. An order of warrior monks, the Knights Templar, 1200s. Europe is full of pilgrims heading for Jerusalem, carrying their savings through bandit country. The Templars offered a deal. Hand your money to the temple in London, and they hand you a document. Walk to Jerusalem empty-handed. Show the document there. Withdraw your money. Deposit in one country. Withdraw in another. Europe's first international banking network, run by monks with swords. They became the money machine of Europe. Kings kept their treasuries in the Paris temple. The King of France, Philip IV, borrowed 500,000 livres from them for his sister's dowry. In 1306, when Paris rioted, Philip literally hid inside the Templars' fortress. He trusted his bankers with his life. 16 months later, at dawn, on Friday the 13th of October 1307, Philip had every Templar in France arrested in a single morning. Torture. Confessions. The order was erased. And here's the detail that explains everything. Philip owed them a fortune. When the Templars died, his debts died with them. By the way, no, this is not where the Friday the 13th superstition comes from. That legend is barely 100 years old. The arrest is real. The curse is marketing. So, paper could move money, and monks could guard it. But the Templars taught Europe a hard lesson. The most dangerous thing in banking isn't a thief, it's a king. Remember that, because the people who solved the moving money problem next were about to learn it too. Go to a market square in medieval Italy. Find the man sitting at a wooden bench, changing coins from 20 different cities. The Italian word for his bench? Banco. That bench is why it's called a bank. And when a money changer went broke, they said his bench was broken. Bancarotta. Bankrupt. The whole vocabulary of modern finance was born on Italian street furniture. The Italians industrialized the Templars' paper trick. A merchant in Bruges could hand over 600 coins and receive a bill of exchange, a piece of paper his partner could cash in Barcelona months later. No coins crossed a border, only paper did, and the paper hid a secret. The church, at the time, banned usury, and usury didn't mean crazy interest, it meant any interest. Dante put moneylenders in the seventh circle of hell. So the Italians tucked the interest inside the exchange rate. That Bruges merchant got back about 12.5%, annualized, invisible, deniable, and completely legal. On those benches, empires grew. The Medici Bank, founded 1397, put branches in 8 cities and pioneered something clever. Each branch was a separate legal company, so one branch failing couldn't sink the rest. The biggest bank in Europe and its head office in Florence ran on about 5 people. And meanwhile, on the other side of the world, China had already skipped ahead an entire century. Actually, 6 of them. Paper money. When Marco Polo saw it around 1290, he told Europe the great Khan hath the secret of alchemy. He turns tree bark into money, and refusing it carries the death penalty. Europeans read that and simply did not believe him. Europe wouldn't print banknotes for another 350 years. So, benches, bills, and hidden interest. Banking now had its name, its paperwork, and its sins. All it was missing was the final ingredient, ours, the banknote. And it took a royal crime to create it. London, 1640. If you were a merchant, you kept your gold in the safest place in England, the Royal Mint, inside the Tower of London, guarded by the king himself. Then the king ran out of money. Charles I seized around 200,000 pounds of the merchant's gold and called it a loan. He eventually paid it back. It didn't matter. The damage was done. If the king guards the vault, who guards the vault from the king? So London's merchants moved their gold to the only other people with vaults, goldsmiths, private craftsmen. And the goldsmiths handed out paper receipts. Your name, your gold, redeemable anytime. Then something quietly historic happened. People stopped bothering to collect the gold. They just paid each other with the receipts. The receipt had become the money. That's what a banknote is. A goldsmith's receipt with better graphic design. And the goldsmiths noticed something else. On any given day, almost nobody actually came for their gold. So, why not lend most of it out and keep just enough for withdrawals? That quiet realization, that the vault never needs to be full, only trusted, is fractional reserve banking. It is still today how essentially every bank on earth works. Your bank does not have your money. It has a promise, and enough cash for the people who show up. The kings, of course, struck again. Charles II defaulted on the goldsmiths in 1672. So in 1694, England tried the opposite of a royal vault, a bank owned by the public. 1,268 ordinary subscribers raised £1.2 million in 11 days to fund a war with France, and accidentally created the Bank of England. It has now been running for over 330 years. And ordinary people? They were barely invited. The first savings bank for working people opened in 1810. A Scottish village minister, 1 hour a week, deposits from 1 shilling. And as late as 1976, most British wages were still paid in cash in a little envelope. Mass banking isn't ancient history. It's younger than your parents. So look at the whole road. We buried money in the ground. We hid it behind gods. We turned it into paper, benches, promises. Every single step was the same step. Not for a stronger vault, but for someone we could trust when memory wasn't enough. That's all a bank is. It was never about the building. The vault was never the point. The promise was. And most of us have never even read ours. One question before you go. Do you keep emergency cash hidden at home? Be honest. Smart or paranoid? You know what your great-grandparents would say. Let me know in the comments below. And if you're wondering how strangers decided you could be trusted before credit scores existed, click to watch this video right here.